prison because he said the first payment went into the president's personal account. That's why he's in prison. That's why he's in prison. Mike Mombe is not a unique situation. They are stealing every day, left, right, and center. But if you don't have manners on the table, talking whilst you're supposed to be eating, and Chimombe then said, no, but here's the bank account. We've put the 7 million into the president's personal account. That's why he's in prison. Who else is in prison? You talk about the honorable from Chimani Mani, Undenge. That was actually, you can tell, that was just abuse. They wanted to set a precedent to punish. That was a political persecution. He had done nothing wrong. I mean, how do you send somebody to prison for $120? What is that? And really, when there are people who have run away with serious cases, who are actually still serving the government, how much has been lost? All the audits that were done by the BT during Parliament, where are they? All those funds that we talked about, what has happened to this date? Monies are being transferred as we are talking today from central bank to individuals, paying millions of dollars. Who has talked about that? Have they been arrested? So let's not try and use those very unfortunate cases, the two cases that we've talked about, and say this is it. But today, journalists are being hounded out of the country for raising issues to do with corruption. It is a fact that there are serious issues of corruption in our country today than even before. People turn around and say, but Kasukwe, taingotina mgabu wenu makai inga maitwa nani wanteta somebody nani atinasha taibata.
I just want you guys to have a conversation with Kasukure in the comment section, okay? I just have one comment as far as Kasukure is concerned. If these allegations are true, I've seen a house circulating online where people allege that it is his house, a 25-bedroom house he built. There is no hard-working man, a Zimbabwean man, including Mnangagwa himself doesn't own a 25-bedroom house with all his greed. I'm just saying, sir, if it is true, I would want to know, how did you do it? How did you do it? Your hard-working salary? Talk to me in the comment section and also speak to Kasukwe. Anyway, I've always been saying that Mugabe created the problems we're facing today because he made Emmerson Mnangagwa. Mugabe had all the powers to stop Mnangagwa's shenanigans. It's clear Mnangagwa is a hardcore criminal that should be behind bars. And there's no amount of bullying that will stop him from being accountable. Okay, you will be held accountable. By the way, we are now on quarter two. So manje. Okay, buckle up. No way criminals will get away with all the crimes they've committed. There's no way. So people are made on social media now with Wikna Shivaya. And I'll tell you why they're angry. They're angry because he has been moving around to Mnangagwa during this official visit of President Duma Boko of Botswana. But I do not know why Zimbabweans are angry with Wikna Shivaya. Why are you angry with him? All right, let me read what the mayor of Bulawayo said, David Coulthard. He said the spectacle of Wikna Shivaya accompanying President Boko and Mnangagwa at the ZITF on Thursday was an edifying and solid respect for these two offices. Both Vice Presidents Chiwenga and Mohadi were present at the ZITF, and it is explainable why they did not accompany both presidents rather than Mr. Chivayo. Mr. Chivayo holds no public office, runs no discernible businesses, employing great numbers of people, has not demonstrated any particular ingenuity or innovation. The manner he flaunts his wealth, the source of which remains a mystery to most Zimbabweans, has deeply angered millions of Zimbabweans who are struggling to pay school fees or obtain basic medical care. This is the reason his presence in the company of both presidents are unfortunate, to say the least. We can do so much better, Zimbabwe, in marketing ourselves and our nation. So you can see a picture right there. It's actually Wikna Shivaya, next to Emmerson Mnangagwa. And I don't blame Mr. Chiwenga. Let me read another comment from Ajara Jaros, who said that Week Chiwenga is now more powerful than General Chiwenga and Kemba Mohad is unbelievable, but it is true. When high-profile VVIPs visit this country, Idi Mnangagwa prefers the company of Chiwenga, whose role in government is not known. This is a telltale sign of bad things to happen. Again, I repeat, why are people angry with Chiwenga? Chiwenga is only acting on Emmerson Mnangagwa's command. The way Chiwenga is today is exactly who Mnangagwa was during the Mugabe time. So Mnangagwa is simply employing the same machination that afforded Mugabe 37 years of misrule, terror, abuse of human rights. So you should never be surprised. I guess that's one of the reasons why Kasukere can be boldly, stating that our hands are clean. It's the culture we built as a Zimbabwean people. It is us who are making these people by celebrating them, entertaining their nonsense. You're about to see something that will shock you. Because when I tell you that we, the Zimbabwean people, need to change the way we see the world, take a listen.
Tangatili pano pamunamaka. Toba tanzwa shoko ratifadza. Tirwa mumwe wedu madzimai lulu. Mukuru wemazuva. Vatengerwa brand new motor. Inonzi chii? Bentley 2026 edition. Yaita mari. $750,000. Pamusoro vabva vapone mari. 1 million. Ndei kune mukuru wedu wemazuva. Rufaro kwamu.
I know poverty and ignorance are the greatest enemy of our people. But man, we need to change. What shocks me is that even Police Zimbabwe, I'm talking about those that are being paid by the taxpayer, are hunting on an innocent woman rather than arresting criminals that we saw on television while they were stealing a phone from a citizen. That was Douglas Coulthard. This guy has a track record of violence and a track record of abusing of our people, but still he's roaming around the street because he only belonged to Mnangagwa's gangs. Do you blame Emmerson for learning from Mnangagwa? I blame us for not having standards where once we see someone don't have the qualities we're looking for, we have no conversation except to drive that person out. So in the era that we're in, Chiwenga and the military are important, are needed in this era to do away with criminality in our country. We should never play with that. These guys have got guns. In fact, I saw someone tweeting online that you are blaming why there's so many robberies in the country, but you are forgetting that you are the ones who we armed citizens under the guise of protecting Emmerson Mnangagwa. It's on record. To do a woman from Bulawayo that you saw, she came in with wearing a dress. You can see her on the picture right there. That was written that not to cab 3, Mnangagwa must go. The police are after her. I'm talking about Zimbabweans. These police are Zimbabweans who saw what actually happened, but they would choose to hand on an innocent woman than the real criminals because they only belong to Mnangagwa. So these are the real conversation we should be having. I'm actually very upset. But anyway, good news. For those that may not have sent their own submissions to Parliament right now, Trevor Ncube posted a message that I want to share with you. So you need to look very closely. He said he will soon be publishing a template on all things Zimbabwe.substack.com to help you make your submissions on CAB 3. This will be a very safe way to track your submissions, whether you are in the diaspora, an organization, or an individual. Meanwhile, read my candid views. We're going to look at that later on because he said something so scathing that I want you to listen to. Okay, so there's been a report that spoke to the fact that Emmerson Mnangagwa was plotting to arrest military generals. I think you've seen that about it yesterday. I didn't cover the story, but because I brought some good news. So whenever the good news, you see me here. So Mnangagwa is planning To what? Don't forget, this is one of the main reasons why Mugabe was driven out. Mugabe was removed because he had plans to arrest military generals. Because you see, Mnangagwa is cornered. He's trying to tear off their powers, but now he doesn't know what to do with this CAB 3 thing. So before that, he knows that this can be a problem. Now he's thinking of crossing a red line. Once you cross the red line with the big boys will not sit back and watch. I remember retired General Muchena said the same thing. I do not think the military will watch these guys playing their dirty games in our faces. Action will be taken. Take a listen.
Please do it away from your homes. Kana makachenjera enda kumamisha ehama dzenyu dzamunotrasta kuti havataure kuti muri kupi. The information andatumwa naye panapa. A large number of generals are going to die in the next 2 weeks. A large number of generals are going to be assassinated. Some are going to be followed after Itai, McAfee, or whatever you want to hide from. And die. Kwamsingazikani nano akawanda kuti muri. General Sanyatwe ndaudzwa kuti you are at the greatest risk of any time in your career. Ndaudzwawo handisini ndiri kuzviformulate. I say things from two sources, two very important sources that like my work, that like what I do. They do respect everything I say. Ndatumwa kuti nditaure kuti General Sanyatwe, guard yourself very well. Imi nemudzimai wenyu. I've been told this. Ini ndasvitsa message. Ini ndaudzwa kunzi say exactly zvatakuudza ndo zvandiri kutaura. Handina chandiri kutapudza, handina chandiri kuwedzera. Ndogona kunge ndisiri kutaura nemo word by word, but zvandiri kutaura ndizvo zvandaudzwa kuti nditaure. General Sanyatwe, take care of yourself. Ndo zvandaudzwa. General Sanyatwe, take care of your wife. Ndo zvandaudzwa. Kune vanhu vari kurwa nemudzimai wenyu kwaari MP uko, vari kuda kuti atorova pasi. Vanhu ivavo very close to you, they even visit you, they are even very close to you. Be very careful. Inini basa rangu ndiri kuuya ndichitaura chokwadi. Those that take my word for granted, you will thank me one day if you survive what's coming. Soko rakakura randauya naro nhasi nderekuti everyone who is suspected to be in General Chiwenga's camp, please stay away from your homes. Look at other alternative accommodation. Do not go for meetings. Do not go for anything. If you haven't learned Teremunzo imi general, aisi promotion kubviswa ku army kuendeswa kuma civilian institutes. That is not promotional basis. That's not promotion. Aisi promotion kubviswa ku army kuendeswa ku civilian. I want musoja wese kuti adzidze chinhu one. Learn from what happened to Comrade Parents Shiri, Minister of Agriculture, and what not, all the nonsense, the nonsensical, just to trap you in a box so you can be fed and make sure that you are assassinated. Learn from.
I also have a problem with the church, guys. I grew up in church, so I know how most people in the church think. I do remember one of the ladies that I went to the church with, she wrote on our Facebook that she said to me, you know, Rumbi, stay away from politics. Politics is a dirty game. Why can't you just go back to the church and sing the way that you used to do? Because she knew me in the church, the FM church. I remember laughing and I'm like, wow, I know she came from a good place. I knew she was trying to protect me. But I'm wise enough to understand that the devil is a master illusionist. I'm wise enough to understand that those who are in leadership make decisions even for my spirit. So if I'm not smart, I'll end up serving the devil. Like where Zimbabweans are. Zimbabweans are suffering not because there's poverty in the country, not because God is not good. No, God is so good. Unfortunately, Zimbabweans are not wise. They don't understand the Bible. Read the Bible with understanding. I've always been saying, David killed Goliath, didn't pray for him. Okay. You do whatever you want with the information. David, he didn't pray for Goliath. He killed him. There were reasons. God is very political for your own information. If you read the Bible very closely, it was all about politics. When Esther approached the king, it was about politics. The Jews were being killed. And she had to confront her husband who had the power to say, sweetheart, no, my king. And said, what do you want? Even up the half of my kingdom. So you can't tell me anything about God. I read the Bible with understanding. So some of you are too religious. You're just being fed lies by fake prophets who are being paid by the regime. I think I've said this before, that all your churches, please underline all, are all infiltrated by Mnangagwa and his criminals. All your churches in Zimbabwe, all of them, not one, all of them. So that it can control. Before you know it, you worship a statue. So don't tell me about God. God actually is very much interested when we want to protect the seed and the blessings that he has given us. Remember, God blessed us with everything. We've got the land, we have riches. So when we cry in the church and crying for electricity, it's like, please get out of here. Go back and confront the thief. Drag the thief. I told you, David, he did not pray for Goliath. He didn't speak in tongues. He killed him. It's wisdom and understanding. All right. Let's move on. We are on 24-hour surveillance, but the good news is that God is with us. We will not fail. So prayers up for everyone that the enemy is after, and a cursed death in Jesus' name. Amen. Let me tell you this. Emerson Mnangagwa will walk on dead bodies to get what he wants. But what he doesn't understand this time around is Zimbabweans are not stupid. He is heavily cornered. You will not escape. You will surely be held accountable for his sins. The guy has committed so many atrocities. That's why he's trying everything in the book so that he can turn Zimbabwe into a kingdom. You can rule by decree. Hello? It's not your home. It's not your house. Zimbabwe is a country. Mugabe was like, no, let me start with Smith. Never in a million years where there will be majority black rule, right? Mugabe, you will rule from the grave. Mr. Mnangagwa think has got it all under control. No, sir, you don't. It's your time to go, and it will happen soon. Let me read the comment that was put out by Wafawarova, the journalist. He said, me today after receiving the full brief of how this war nonsense is going to be stopped. I'm not inviting you to buy data or wait for action, but I promise you the liberation legacy will prevail and conquer. Poor judges, rehearsing clever lawyering after the bribes. Maonekwa. So my lawyers, they're being given money. Of course, dirty money. And here's the painful truth. Is the money these guys are being given, be the judges, the military, the police, whoever you are, some of the citizens, the cause, is the money and the lives Mnangagwa stole from you over the years. He stole future from you, and now he's giving you bits and pieces to use you to achieve his goals. How dumb can we be as a country, honestly? How dumb can we be? I said, can we, even though I know I've never gotten a cent, but I'm saying this because I want to remind you how important it is, because the problems that we're facing today are the problems that Emerson Mnangagwa has caused. This guy is a bad guy and is dangerous. You heard, he received 7 million from the money of that deal, but he's sending someone to prison. That's how wicked he is. The guy is dangerous and is bad for leadership. I don't know how he got up and be a leader in Zimbabwe, honestly. It's been a question that we have been asking. Anyway, let's move on to a scathing article that Trevor Ncube wrote. This one here, I want you to pay attention. And please write your comments in the comment section, because I also want to know what you think. That will help us, because let me tell you, The generals, some of these guys are reading all your comments. They want to know what you guys think about the leadership of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Anyway, let's move on. To save Zimbabwe, an evil system must be uprooted. So before I proceed, I just want to send respect for the late Comrade Geza. May his soul rest in peace. I will forever celebrate a great legacy that I saw and witnessed. Not what I heard, I witnessed. Most of the times when I had questions, the first statement you would say would be like, ZANU-PF created the problems we have today. ZANU-PF created the problems we have today. And I also, when I read the statement from retired General Muchena, he also mentioned ZANU-PF, if it wants to act the way that it wants to act now, definitely there will be repercussions. That's exactly where we are today. ZANU-PF system must be uprooted for Zimbabwe to survive. Let's read the article. We the people and we are the future. I'm troubled by those determined to shred the 2013 constitution, yet I remain hopeful that even at this 11th hour, sanity may yet prevail. Did we not fight the Ian Smith settler regime, indeed shed blood for one man, one vote? Was the 2013 constitution not endorsed by more than 3 million citizens in a referendum? Then Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, Cap 3 must not see the light of day. 2030 will not see the light of day. The two previous amendments did the same thing, stripped power from the people, piled it on the executive. The bill before parliament is only a symptom. The disease is ZANU-PF itself. ZANU-PF is an evil system. It is an energy and a blood-sucking system that is fed off the fat of Zimbabweans for 2 generations. It has become a culture, metasized into a way of doing things and a way of being. In its current form, it is the worst thing one's proud liberation parties has ever been. It has attracted the greed, the opportunistic, the every manner of social misfit. Mediocrity is now the standard. Its values are selfishness, corruption, repression, violence, fear, tribalism, and hurt. This system is now in some of us. It manifests in the way we drive, in the way we treat one another, in the way we lit our streets. It must be uprooted, branch, and root. I write as a Zimbabwean who has watched for over 30 years as a liberation movement cradled into a looting syndicate. I have been arrested for journalism. I have seen colleagues beaten and publications shuttered. I've sat across the table from ministers and presidents and know that no amount of good faith dialogue can reform a system whose architecture is built on extracting value from the powerless. Reform is not an option. Removal is. How we got here? We are at this crossroad because of the military coup of November 2017, dressed up as a military assisted transition. One I myself supported in the excitement of seeing the back of Robert Mugabe. That coup delivered Emmerson Mnangagwa and his ZANU-PF faction now using incumbents to secure political permanency. In hindsight, confirms that should have been obvious. Coups do not yield democratic outcomes. They benefit only their instigators. When I hear voices whisper that only another coup can stop this constitutional coup, I understand the despair, but I reject it. We must stop being a country in which coups are the only remedy. The Constitution is not our biggest problem. The 2013 Constitution is progressive. It threatens only those with no confidence of winning at the polls. That is precisely why Mnangagwa and his faction are trying to tear it down, not a sign of strength, but a confession of weakness. And yet the Constitution is not the biggest problem confronting Zimbabweans today. The common man in Mbari, the graduate in Mulawayo, the farmer in Mashingo, they do not wake up worrying about Section 328, Subsection 7. They wake up worrying about whether they will eat. Poverty, unemployment, current chaos, collapsing health, crumbling infrastructure, power outages. Every one of these would be behind us if ZANU-PF applied to governance a fraction of the ingenuity it has thrown at this constitutional coup. That it will not tells you everything about whose interest this system serves. The factions are marriage. Let no Zimbabwean be deceived that Vice President Constantino Chiwenga's supposed discomfort represents a democratic alternative within ZANU-PF. There are no ideological difference between those who like Mnangagwa and those who oppose him. The fight is about tenure. Which faction eats next and for how long? It is not about the 16 million Zimbabweans who will pay the cost. Nobody from the current ZANU-PF can be trusted with power. The party is not a vessel that can be cleaned out and rifted for democratic service. You do not reform a fishing trawler into an ambulance. You beach it, strip it, and build something new. A black minority system, the majority have become poorer as ZANU-PF elites and their cronies have become filthy rich. This system has debased our culture, personalized national institutions, and weaponized the law. What we now call lawfare, to rob the weak while shielding the powerful. ZANU-PF is today a black minority system that puts Ian Smith's racist rule to shame. Smith did not pretend to govern in the name of the people he was dispossessing. ZANU-PF does every morning while its families holiday in Dubai and their children study in cities most Zimbabweans will never see. Filthy lucre is now the governing currency of our politics. Cars, cash, jobs, and land are dispensed by cartels and oligarchs to purchase allegiance. Councillors are bought, MPs are bought, chiefs are bought. The bench has been marked and much of the judiciary capture. Businesses are frightening into silence lest they lose the next tender. State capture is not a metaphor in Zimbabwe. It is the operating system, and it must be unpicked brick by brick. The chaos at the constitutional hearings was no accident. It was strategy, a state-sanctioned, cartel-funded method of silencing opponents. When a lawyer is slapped and has his glasses broken on camera, when journalists are forced to delete footages, when whip-wielding letters control the Enders Avenue, that is not consultation. That is tyranny in broad daylight. The mask is off. Most of you know Trevor. The main thing that I disagree with is that we want to portray as if ZANU-PF is actually a political party. No. ZANU-PF is a criminal syndicate. I've said this on a repeat. Mnangagwa built the structures of criminality. Unfortunately, I repeat, unfortunately, people in ZANU-PF were so obsessed with the lifestyle. These guys had access to money, to women. Oh, by the way, once you have access to women, you don't think right? Men could not think right. Not all men, some men, especially in ZANU-PF, couldn't think right. Because, I mean, what do you mean? Even right now, as you see, I've actually noticed that most women are busy building their BBLs because of the pressure of the big boys. Corrupt individuals, dirty money and immorality are bodies. The country is in turmoil. We've lost everything. It's dirty money. The person that should be held accountable beyond doubt is Emmerson Mnangagwa, whom for some reason was the right candidate for Mugabe to remain in power, unleashing violence on Zimbabweans, making decisions that corrupted and destroyed our country. I know that we may not trust people in ZANU-PF, but we must never forget, so that in future we are able to tell when a criminal arises and begin to wiggle himself into a society and corrupt it little by little. The guy plays a long game for 2 generations. Emmerson Mnangagwa is bad news. The guy is dangerous to life. I know. ZANU-PF is a party. I mean, guys, we can see today, even those in ZANU-PF are afraid of Mnangagwa. That's why on Ashina Masa today, Chrissy, Chris when he talks, but now Chris can't speak. He's afraid of Mnangagwa. They're afraid of the so-called system they created. I genuinely believe that in 2017 when Mnangagwa ran away, he was just playing them. He was playing them. You see, one thing about Mnangagwa is master the art of gaslighting. He was playing them. And even the issue that we read before, that the military generals wanted to be arrested by Mugabe, he may be the one that was creating it, because the guy is a deceiver, and he knows that once he plays dirty work, he always finds his way. Because Zimbabweans don't actually tackle the problem; they start attacking each other. The real problem here is Emmerson Mnangagwa. I know someone will say, "No, but be careful, you're gonna be killed." How many people did they kill? Did he change? Did he change? He's still the same man, even worse. So killing people is not the solution. And I'm saying to Mnangagwa, you can kill as many as you want. But at the end of the day, whatever is done to Zimbabwe, there will be a price to pay. If he doesn't pay, his children will pay. They would not like that country. I know there's most of the apartments that cover from Zimbabwe. It's Mnangagwa's children. They will not have access to those houses because everything will be taken back to the state. If he thinks I'm lying, you must ask Lungu. Oh, may Lungu so rest in peace. The guy is too. There are fights. Guys, don't play with evil. Don't play with evil. There will be a price to pay. There is no amount of violence that Mnangagwa unleashed that will make him a saint. He's still going to be a criminal, and the price to pay will be heavy. So, criminality is the problem Zimbabwe has. Criminality, and I repeat, all these issues of politics, no, this is actually a secondary problem. So to say my challenge that Zimbabwe came in 2017 is actually not correct. Zimbabweans had problems pre-1980. People were killed, innocent people. What happened to Hebe Chitepo? What happened to Tongogara? Zimbabweans, we are better than this. Let us be smart. Criminality is the demon we are dealing with. And we need to get to the bottom of it. Who is controlling these criminal syndicates? Who is the godfather? Again, Emerson Mnangagwa, he comes out and says it. He comes out, says it, but Zimbabweans will still want to believe a lie. Not the truth is that we're having a problem of criminality. I have nothing to say, honestly. The two problems that I have with, but I mentioned that lawlessness again, this factionalism and loyalty. I think I wrote a tweet about a week ago, and I said, I pray and hope that whatever administration that is coming will not employ George Charamba. And I say this not because I hate him. I know George Charamba may actually think I've got a problem. No, I have a challenge with people who remain in the same spot for decades. Mr. George, you saved Kenan Banana. You saved Mugabe. You saved Emerson. Now you want to return? Absolutely not. Retired and go home. Many people in ZANU-PF should be all sent home. Retire them, all of them. They're just a waste of time. Because we are recycling toxicity and incompetence, entitlement. One of the problems with Zimbabwe is awarding people based on loyalty. And that loyalty thing is a dangerous game. And many in ZANU-PF have mastered pretense. When a person is coming through, like, no, they're already jumping ship to Chiwenga. Most of them are jumping ship right now as we speak. Because you know what? They want to be access to the money. Not the principle. Instead of employing men and women of integrity, they employ people on loyalty, and most of those loyalties are fake. It's all about trying to have access to state money. What, guys, if you have been in the administration of Mugabe, okay, some of you came back into with Mnangagwa, some of you didn't, but I have a question for you. What do you have to offer Zimbabwe that you could not offer then? That's the problem we have in our country, recycling the same old, incompetent, ignorant fools over and over. And I stand by my words, because if we don't speak truth, we are stuck with nonsense. We need to build a better country, but the better country is not going to be built by trying to massage each other. We're only going to build a better country when we are honest. And there's also another demon, tribal fights. Stupid, I call it stupid tribal fights. Okay, I've been monitoring South Africa, even, the pageants one, like the Miss South Africa and so forth. It has always been the Xhosa people or the vendor. So two vendor, Xhosa, it has been some time now I haven't heard from the Zulu, not that they won't, they always be. But for some reason, something very unique and distinct is Zimbabwe. They always fight on tribal lines. I had some people say, no, but power cannot return to Masvingo, because I think Mnangagwa is more from Masvingo, and then Chamisa is from Masvingo. First and foremost, I'm from Masvingo. We never gotten nothing from Mnangagwa. In fact, I don't even know who he is. So for those who actually think that being from Masvingo means everyone in Masvingo is benefiting, is absolutely nonsensical. Again, I remember Comrade Geza one day saying, I don't understand when people talk about the issue of Masvingo and Zezuru, because I am from Masvingo. Comrade Geza is from Masvingo. How then do you talk about Masvingo but I am talking about Chiwenga, who is from the other side? Meaning there are people who are always using tribal lines, fighting for their own personal interest, not for the country, their own personal interest, at the expense of the entire people. Guys, it doesn't matter power goes back to Zezuru, goes back to Ndebele, goes back to... We should think beyond tribal lines. Once people goes to elections, someone wins election, the person should be the president. We should never even discuss. It's not a discussion or argue. But you know why? We created poverty so that we can continue with all these stupid fights. That's why I'm angry with everyone who's been part of the administration of Mugabe and Mnangagwa, because guys, you created the poverty we're seeing today. Guys, I can only imagine working 10 years in the government. Some of you 40 years. Look at Opam Chunguri. What is it that she has achieved? What is it that they've achieved? They're just a waste of time. Look at Mudenda. They're a waste of time, with all due respect. Right now, to expect Machinomona to be owning like an orphanage, or she's running some NGOs and she's changing lives. No, they are still standing here drooling, receiving cash from Mnangagwa. It's disgusting and embarrassing. I have a problem with the kind of leadership in Zimbabwe that does not evolve. In fact, it's getting worse. Guys, hold on. For those who know me, you may know me but people can tell you that there's a lot of involvement in me as a person. Surely I can never want to be in the same spot for 10 years and more. Something has to change in our country. It's the way we think. Recycling old and same people in the government is dangerous, and because then people feel entitled. They're not looking at the government like their mother's personal handbag. Look at the way George Charamba treats people online. He calls Zimbabweans madunun. A person who works in the president's office opens his mouth and call the taxpayer his paymaster dununu. The lack of etiquette in the government of Mnangagwa is worse. No decorum, lack of morals. These guys behave like animals. Mothers who should actually be able to teach young people, they are the worst because they feel entitled to the lifestyle. Being driven, taxpayer paying for absolute nonsense. What is it that they've achieved for the past 4 decades? Nothing, except we have done better for Zimbabweans than them. Shameful. Stupid fights. No, do we need a leader? It's, oh no, why is he going back to Mkamtari? Who cares about that? We care about a leader who can deliver. We care about someone who don't think that the government is mother's business. No, you're at work. It's a job. You are accountable to the people you're employed. This behavior of Mnangagwa simply tells how foolish we are as a people to entertain nonsense like this. That's why for me, military to stand up and drive nonsense out of the office, it's supposed to be done. Everyone who's wasting our time, wasting our taxpayers' money, and wasting our energy, wasting our emotional health should be dragged and out. We should never wait for someone to say, oh, the person, are they leaving? No, how many terms are they? No, it's not about the terms. Can you deliver to the Zimbabwean people, yes or no? If you can't deliver, why do we keep you for? Just for you to just being called a name? People in ZANU-PF are a cancer to Zimbabwe. We need leaders. We don't need entitled fools. It's time for Zimbabwe to take action. No, we have been nice for long enough. It's not helping us. We are losing a lot in the process. And we are tired of always entertaining garbage. We want leaders. We don't need toxic individuals. We don't need entitled. Guys, please, Zimbabwe, you can't have a proper public toilet. I think I've seen people complaining online. You can't build a proper public toilet in 2026. People don't have public toilets. In a country that is with billions and billions of dollars, but you have got expensive cars, drivers. What have you achieved? Nothing. Just lifting up your hand and saying ZANU-PF. No, it's nonsensical. It must be stopped. You tell me what you think in the comment section. We cannot continue like this. Action needs to be taken now. I love you guys. God bless you and God bless Zimbabwe. Bye for now.